With control of Congress up for grabs in November, the battle lines are becoming more clear in Washington. Republicans already are hammering Democrats on Obamacare. Now, Politico is pointing out a new strategy could be in the works for Democrats, with President Obama taking the lead. In a speech later today to the Democratic National Committee, the president will reportedly slam congressional Republicans as the party of opportunity for a few, claiming they want cuts to education, more power for lobbyists and corporations, and tax breaks only for the wealthy. So is class warfare going to be the theme in the midterm election? Joining us now, Susan Ferrechio, chief congressional correspondent for the Washington Examiner. Susan, you've taken a look at this. You say that this is an issue or a campaign theme that President Obama has turned to in the past.
Sure, it's sort of an old issue with a new spin. Don't forget in 2012 the way Mitt Romney was portrayed as a wealthy man who is disconnected from working class Americans. And some people think that helped keep home part of the Republican base in the 2012 election. So there's some evidence that it can be successful for Democrats to use this tactic. I think in this case it's the president and Democrats sort of playing defense. And what are they playing defense against? They have a very sluggish economy that the president has to take credit for. And they've got this disastrous rollout of the health care law, people losing their insurance, losing their doctors, having to pay more premiums. How are they going to change the conversation? Well, they go back to the old argument of income inequality, which sort of creates the sort of class warfare issue that we saw in 2012 between the 1% and everybody else. And we've already seen that in the Senate and in the House, in Congress right now, where Democrats are pushing the idea of increasing the minimum wage and restarting the federal unemployment benefits and more stimulus. These are arguments we've heard in the past, but they trot them out now in an election year to try to get everybody talking about this as the reason why people are not doing better in this economy. And it takes everybody off the conversation of the health care law. So it's sort of a win-win for Democrats. And if you look at polls, it resonates with voters. Voters support a minimum wage increase, or at least the idea of it. They support extending federal unemployment benefits, or at least the idea of that. So it's something that's popular with voters, and it distracts voters. And I think we're going to see it go on and on through 2014. And it actually is a strategy that can work unless Republicans can come up with an argument against it.
By most measures, it is a lousy economy. Although we are officially out of a recession, most Americans, the Fox News polls say, still think we are in one. So President Obama's answer, although, as you say, it's his economy and he should be taking the credit or the blame for it, his answer is to say, oh, things would be better were it not for those mean Republicans?
Well, absolutely, and it's a political strategy that's been used many times in the past. That the reason why you're suffering economically is not because of the economy is not growing fast enough, and it's not because many of the long-term unemployed are not finding work in this economy. It's because of things that really wouldn't work. I mean, if you raise the minimum wage, we've already heard from the Congressional Budget Office that this would reduce jobs by 500,000 at the very least. And this idea of federal unemployment benefits, that's just paying people who are out of work. Democrats are calling it a stimulus. They're saying if you again start the unemployment benefits, the economy will be stimulated and jobs will be created. So they can turn the argument on its head.
But the question is, I mean, most people say that the economy is their number one issue. So when the president is talking about income inequality or class warfare or whatever you want to call it, is he talking about the same thing? I mean, is he addressing what people are truly concerned about?
No, he's shifting the blame. It's actually it's a perfect political strategy. Instead of getting out there and saying 6 years in, here we are, the economy is really not where it should be. I know you're all suffering. He's saying, look, I can help you, but the Republicans are getting in the way of it by not increasing the minimum wage. And again, studies are very divided on how helpful these strategies are, but they resonate with people nonetheless. So Democrats are definitely going to be employing it.
Susan Ferrechio, the chief congressional correspondent for the Washington Examiner. Susan, thank you.
Thanks.